Hello, everyone. I am back. Welcome into Above My Pay Grade. My name is Eric. And yes, I've been gone for a couple months. It's given me a lot of time to think. I started college, and YouTube was giving me the runaround and monetizing my channel. Finally, let me monetize a couple weeks ago. But it gave me a lot of time to think and ponder about why I started my channel and what I want the channel to be going forward. As many of you know who have listened for a while, I started the channel because I'm no economic whiz. I started learning about economics in 2020 when I saw the stock market going up and to the right and no one was working. And I started diving deep into the Federal Reserve. And as many of you know, I'm in the military. I started seeing the ties between the military and the dollar and how they're linked. And one of the things that was discouraging over the last couple of years learning this, to be honest, is that there seems like there's not a lot of hope for fixing it. And that's why I'm a big advocate of Bitcoin and learning about this system and why you will always be, no matter how hard you work, you'll be taking one step forward and then the money printer will take you two steps back. And the people I care the most about, blue collar workers, middle class, where I came from, people that do work hard and they are following the prescription that society has told them. Work hard, save, et cetera, et cetera. But that white picket fence, the American dream, is further and further outside their reach as generations continue. And I think that'll get worse. And there are things we can do to mitigate the damage that causes the money printer damage and the debasement of the currency. Because as we continue to work, we spend our time, energy, and effort to get something that somebody can print for free. That's a losing game. I always tell people it's all about incentives, and the incentives have to change. And I think the system, the dollar-based system, has to collapse for the incentives to change, unfortunately. But one of my favorite analogies in the society we're living in today, and a lot of people think, hey, a new politician's going to change it, a new regime's going to change it, free markets are going to change it. In my opinion, if the base layer, meaning the money, is controlled by the people that are, let's just say, discouraging positive incentives, they're encouraging negative incentives, and they have a money printer. How can you outcompete a money printer? I liken it to if you were in school, and I was talking to my mom the other day about this. Let's say you're studying to be a doctor, and you have a big test coming up, and the professor and your other students are in the classroom, and the professor leaves the classroom and says, hey, make sure you guys don't look at your book during this test. As soon as he leaves, everybody's looking at the book, except for you. You have a little bit of integrity. So grades come back, everyone gets an A, except for you. You get a B. How long are you going to continue to go down this road? And let's say you even tell the professor, hey, just so you know, everybody else looked at the book except for me. And he doesn't care, doesn't actually care. So it incentivizes you to cheat, right? It is a game where it doesn't matter how well you play, it's how well you know the ref. And the ref today is the Federal Reserve, the Treasury, and politicians. It's not how well you create goods and services. It's not how well you serve your customers. And a lot of middle-class people, a lot of blue-collar people, including me a couple of years ago, didn't understand that. Didn't understand, like, why all these distortions are happening in the market. Why are people virtue signaling and all? Because why is ESG a thing when it's not profitable? Because it is. Because the government's printing the money. And the way you make the biggest market returns is being close to the government. But if you're like me and you know this can't continue, then if you go down this road and you continue to believe in the system, meaning the dollar-based system, and you trade your time and energy for political currency units that somebody else can print, you're going to continue to take one step forward, and the government's going to print you two steps back, unfortunately. The people who suffer the most during inflation is the poor, and then up it goes to the middle class, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what I'm trying to do with this channel is, number one, educate myself, and a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, I just want to get off my chest, and I'm kind of learning as I go. But the economy can be very overcomplicated. People can use all kinds of terms, and your average person is just doing arithmetic right? Plus, minus, how does this keep working? The answer is it doesn't. It all comes down, currency all comes down to trust. Eventually that trust will evaporate. It's evaporating slowly and then all at once. But as we walk through this, I'd like to diagnose problems the way I see them, and then hopefully give you guys actionable steps, because it is kind of discouraging to hear somebody talk and say, hey, just so you know, world's coming to to an end. There's a comet coming towards us, and then give you no actionable steps to mitigate that risk or to profit from the system that is broken. Because at the end of the day, there will be a new system. The question is, what is it going to be? What are how are the incentives going to change? Because right now the incentives are so broken, there is no politician that'll fix it. And it's guaranteed, as I've said many times on this channel, the one guarantee you have in life, I guess there's three: death, taxes, and debasement. They have to debase the currency even further. And you got to ask yourself, can you outpace that debasement with your work, with your assets, with whatever you tend to buy, gold stocks, etc.? Because we are in unprecedented times. This has happened in history. Historically, people have debased their currency. But as far as the United States, globalism, and how the world works today, obviously is much different. So we can look to history as a teacher, as a guide. But we're definitely in uncharted waters as far as how the world works today versus how it used to work. And I think you can profit from that and at least diagnose the problems. It's nice to know, at least for me, that the world, when you see the world or people in the world doing certain things and it doesn't make sense to you, it really starts to make sense once you understand the money, in my opinion, because you understand the incentive is not to make profit, but to get close to the printer. It's not to make a better company. It's to get close to the printer, to lobby, etc. At the end of the day, wealth is your access to goods and services. No goods and services, only political currency units, you get inflation. So I hope to keep adding daily content like I used to, finally monetized again. But I appreciate those of you who are still subscribed, sticking around. And let me know in the comments section if there's specific things that you guys want me to cover. But as we go forward, I'm going to try to give, because that's one thing I've been thinking about the last couple of months, is actionable steps. What is going to help people in their own specific community move that community forward? Because we can't solve the world's problems. I can't solve the world's problems sitting here by myself, but there's power in numbers. And if we can affect our own individual community, our circle of influence, I think it can have a vast effect over the world. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one tomorrow. Peace.